Hello, welcome back. Today we are going to do a declutter. Yes, as you can see by the title of this video. So, I'm going to probably be a lot more cutthroat with this than I have been with other items like my palettes and stuff, which I'm probably going to have to do another palette declutter real soon because I have accumulated a lot more palettes since my last declutter. Today we're going to do at least foundation and concealer and maybe. So these drawers are a mess, do not judge me. We're going to start in this drawer. Foundations are in this drawer, some concealers are in this drawer, and then some concealers are behind me. This is long overdue because I really need this drawer to not be so full that I can't even open it when I need something. If you see my very pasty legs in this video, I am so sorry. I don't use a lot of this. I have my favorites, so I usually just gravitate towards those. This is Boscia. I think it's Boscia or something along those lines. So this I just recently got. I will link the video up in the iCards if you guys want to check that out, where I did a testing full face of makeup. I actually really enjoy this. I just think the shade is just a little dark for me. This may match me a little bit better during the summer, and I need to keep a couple summer shades, so I am going to keep that. Let's just talk about all three of these as a whole. If you haven't been able to figure it out, this is my absolute hands down ride or die foundation. I have 3 different shades here, and they're all not my right shade. So I absolutely love this foundation. I just have a hard time matching myself in this foundation. This is the Too Faced Born This Way. So I have the shade Snow, I have the shade Vanilla, and I have the shade Nude. This one, Snow, is too light for me. Vanilla is too warm for me, but it is a very close shade match, and Nude is too dark for me. I tend to just mix them because, well, it gives me a better shade match. I find that Too Faced has a lot of really warm or yellow toned foundations. It's really hard to find a pink toned foundation in their line, but I really like it, so I really just kind of suck it up and deal with it. Kind of a shitty situation, so Too Faced, step up your shade range. Keeping all 3 of those. So next we have the NARS Natural Radiant Foundation. This is in the shade Salzburg, which is L 3.5. This actually is too light for me as well, and as you can see, it's very warm compared to my skin tone, but I actually really like this foundation as well. I find myself reaching for it a lot. I tend to just mix foundations anymore because I have a couple in here that are extremely too warm for me or too yellow, but they are kind of a close match or they're just a little bit off. So I like to keep those, and then I have a couple foundations in here that run extremely cool and are way too cool for me. So I just mix those together, which I will show you in just a moment which ones I tend to use for mixing foundations. So, actually, here's one that I was just talking about. I use this Clinique Beyond Perfecting foundation plus concealer for like mixing in, because as you can maybe see, I don't know if the lighting is right, but this is kind of on the cool side. Actually, it's very cool toned. The camera is kind of making it look warm toned, but also it is too dark for me. I bought 2 shades in this, and this is actually the shade Fair, number 5, and I bought number 6 too, and I ended up returning 6 because it was just way too dark for me. So I kept this one to mix into my foundations, and this is actually a pretty good foundation. I just wish that it had a better shade range as well. I'm gonna dig through here and try to find the ones I'm keeping first, and then we'll talk about why I'm not keeping other ones. Huda Beauty. I bought this and I love this. I was actually talked out of buying it the first time they launched it, and then it sold out at Sephora. Well, the women at Sephora told me for my dry skin that I probably would not like this and it would be kind of crappy for me, and I really wish that the fragrance was not as hardcore as it is, because it is pretty intense. But for my dry skin, honestly, and as full coverage as this is, I absolutely love it. I find myself reaching for it a lot. This packaging does not do it justice. it is extremely light for me. Like I said, I just kind of mix this with other stuff because this is so full coverage that it doesn't really matter what I mix with it. So I really want to find my shade in this because I absolutely love this foundation, especially for tutorials. And this is in the shade Cashew 140G. I don't know why I got golden. I never knew how to really match myself, like I was talking about in my video of how I did my makeup then versus now. I literally would just buy the lightest shade and everything because I had no idea what I was doing, and I really thought I was just that pale. And honestly, I'm not even in the fair range. I'm more so in the like fair light range, more so light than I am fair, and I've discovered that probably this year. So a lot of these foundations are not going to match me. This is the Tarte Amazonian Clay foundation, and actually this is almost a perfect shade match for me. This is probably the closest one I have in here for me. I bought this on a whim. I think I like bought this secondhand from somebody. They bought it and they said it was the wrong shade, so they like never used it. And I bought it not even really knowing much about it. And I know that I am more on the neutral side, but I run more cool tone than I do yellow. So I have to find foundations that are neutral but pull like more pink. But this is actually a really good foundation. It is full coverage. The only thing I have to say about it is I'm not that big of a fan of how thick it is. But I'll tell you what, like if you want a full coverage, I would opt out for these two right here, the Huda or the Amazonian Clay, because I do really like those. As you can see, I've used the crap out of this. This is the Marc Jacobs Marvelous Mousse foundation. I like to use this during the summer when I am a little bit darker because this is in the shade 32 Beige Light. I would love to find my shade match in this because I used the ever-living crap out of this when I was a little bit darker. I sometimes will mix this in with other foundations, but I find that it's still kind of hard for me to mix this because it is like a mousse foundation and it is more of that creamy, thick consistency. It's hard for me to like mix in a liquid foundation with it. So I would like to go and get another one of these, a better shade for me. But this shade during the summer last year, I was always at the water park. I got sunburnt quite frequently, so this matched me very well, and I actually really enjoy this. Okay, so this is the Milani Conceal Plus Perfect 2-in-1 foundation and concealer, and this is also too light for me. This is in this shade 00B Light. I know that since I have purchased this, which actually has been quite a while ago, that they have, I think, added a couple more shades. I just haven't brought myself to buying more because I'd like to use this up first. I usually tend to use stuff that is not my skin tone or not a good match for me when I am filming because you guys really can't tell, but if I really love a foundation, I'm gonna stand by it. I just wish that, you know, some companies would learn that they need to have like a cool undertone, a warm undertone, and a neutral undertone, and everything in between, from peachy to olive to red to just every undertone they could possibly think of in literally every shade, because that would be great. Anyways, this is actually just really light for me as well, but I tend to mix this with my Born This Way. I find that this is literally a great dupe for the Born This Way. This is my hands down favorite other than the Too Faced foundation. I will literally pick this up over, you know, any of these foundations, but I will literally grab for this every single time, even though it is too late for me. I absolutely love it. So we've got a couple more in here that I will talk about, and then we'll move on to the ones I don't really care for. So this is a kind of like a hit or miss for me, and I absolutely loved this at first. This was the Hourglass Vanish Stick Seamless Finish Foundation. I have two shades here. I have Shell, which is a pretty good match for me, and then I have Ivory, which is a little too dark for me. I bought Ivory and it just was not right, so I bought Shell because I got a little sample and I absolutely loved it as concealer. And I honestly have not used this in so long. There's a fucking gnat and I'm about to, nope, you gotta die. Gotcha, bitch. Okay, anyways, what I was saying is I used to love this, and I really liked it for concealer when I got that little sample. I have not reached for this in so long. I mean, part of this is because my drawer is so full and it sits at the very bottom, so it's hard for me to see stuff, and then I get really sick of digging, so I just grab for what I know. I may sell this one or give it to somebody because it's literally barely used. But like, this still has a ton of product in it, but it's just not my shade. It's the best stick foundation I have found. Right now, I think I am going to keep a hold of these and see if I use them. And if I don't use them, I'll probably just end up giving them to somebody because I'm just not that big a fan of them. Okay, so we've got Fenty Beauty. I actually quite enjoy this for how matte it is and me being so dry skinned. This foundation, funny story, my ex-boyfriend bought this for me for my I don't know, it was right after it launched. It was either my 25th or 26th birthday. I think this launched in 2017, right? I don't know. I remember walking into Sephora either the day it launched or the day after it launched, and they had a display, and they only had 5 shades of this. This is so ironic seeing that Fenty has like one of the biggest shade ranges. I've only seen 5 shades, and I picked the one that I felt like was closest to me, and I bought it. And then I turned around after buying it and realized that there was literally 50 shades, or how many ever there are. I don't know why. I just dealt with it. I took it and I used it. I don't know why. I didn't return it right there on the spot or ask them to exchange my shade, but I didn't, and this shade is actually too dark for me. This is the shade 200. I would probably have been better off, you know, like 10 shades lighter. It's great for the summertime, and I use this also to mix in with other foundations that are way too light for me. So I am gonna keep this because it is a good summer shade, but yeah, I'm gonna have to go buy another one. Okay, so I've got 2 more to talk about that I actually like, and it's the same thing. So I have 2 shades here. I have the shade C3 and N2. This is the L'Oreal True Match. This is the best drugstore foundation. There's some decent foundations out there, but I just think this one takes the cake. I don't think it's super full coverage. Why is there so many gnats? I think it's like medium-ish coverage, light medium. I usually use this on days where I'm not going for like full beat, but regardless, this is a great shade match for me. If you guys watched my video of the makeup versus then versus now, you'd know the story behind this. These are really great. They just are really beautiful. I'm going to talk about, I think, 2 or 3 that are okay, but not my favorite, and I might let 1 or 2 of them go. So do you guys ever buy products based on other people's reviews or based on other people's opinions because you see everybody hyping it up and you're like, well, I want to know what the hype's about? Well, I used to do that a lot, and now I just kind of buy stuff that I think I will enjoy. This is one of them. This is expensive, okay? Expensive. I don't like paying $50 for foundation. If you guys haven't noticed, a lot of my collection is in like the mid-range. I like luxury, but I don't like prestige brands because I don't think you need to buy $50 foundation to have a good looking face. And actually, a lot of my $50 foundations I don't like. So this is the Lancome Tint Idol Ultra Wear. This is also too dark for me. The only reason I bought it is because I kept putting it in my cart on Ulta, and I'd take it out, put it in, take it out, because I just could not justify paying this much because I was scared I wasn't gonna like it. So there was a local store in my town that was going out of business, and they sold it, and they only had so many shades left, and I stood there 10 minutes before closing. You know, the guy over the speakers telling me pretty much get the F out, and I'm sitting there trying to shade match. And I could clearly tell the lady was getting annoyed because I kept telling her, give me that shade, give me that shade, and she's wanting to go home. I got the shade 230 Buff, but this one at the time was the closest match to me. This is an okay foundation, but I do not see why everybody absolutely loves this. Like, I don't see what the big deal is. Like, Nikkie Tutorials, made me buy this. Like, I can't get it to look great on my skin. It looks okay. I'll use it in tutorials and stuff, and a lot of this stuff, the only time I do use it is in tutorials because I'm trying to either use it up or just find an excuse to use it. This is one of those things. I've literally used this, I think, 3 times, and I'm just not reaching for it, and I was actually going to keep it, but now that I'm sitting here thinking about it, I'm going to get rid of this. We're going to move on to another drugstore foundation that it's not that great. This is 110 Porcelain and the Maybelline Superstay foundation. Okay, so I'm not gonna say this is a bad foundation, like, by any means. I don't think it's like horrible. I will try to link it up here in the iCards, but a while ago I did a tutorial where I did a blue eye look and I used this foundation. At one point in that video, I think I was doing my brows and I zoomed really far in, and right in between my eyebrows it looked so cakey and horrible, and I used this foundation. Ever since I seen that and noticed that in that video, I literally have pretty much stopped using this because I don't want that to be my everyday life. And like I said, it's just another thing that's a little too light for me. I think I've used it probably twice since that video. I find myself having a hard time reaching for this, so I think I am just gonna get rid of it. And I'm not saying it's a bad drugstore foundation, I just think it makes me look cakey. I forgot this was in here. So this is a Burberry foundation. So this is in the shade Ochre Nude number 12, and I bought this at TJ Maxx. I think they only had 1 or 2 shades, and I think it was literally this one or like a really deep one. I stood there for like 5 minutes trying to decide, like, do you think this will match me? Do you think this will match me? And actually it did. This is a really good match for me as well. I remember I brought it home and I didn't know how I felt about it because I'd mixed it with a foundation. Actually I'm about to talk about that foundation next. And I sat there looking at my skin like, no, this isn't very good. And I was mad because I bought 2 foundations, and since I mixed them together, I assumed it was both of them, and I really didn't care for either. Well, I tried them both on their own, and I actually found that I really like this one a lot better. Is it my favorite? No. But I reach for this more than I reach for everything else in my drawer right now. So I am actually going to keep this. So this was the one I was talking about, mixing with that Burberry foundation. This is the Tarte High Performance Naturals. I've heard, so first off, this is extremely messy. Like, this is such a messy foundation. I don't like using it because of how messy it is. I bought the shade Porcelain. I bought this from somebody. It was brand new when I bought it, but it was already discontinued. I don't know why, I just had to have this. And I've actually heard that the Tarte Shape Tape foundation hydrating one is literally this in a different packaging. So you're basically getting this, and if that's the case, I absolutely don't want that foundation. I've kept this and I think I have used it 3 times. I just don't like this foundation. It does not do nothing for my skin. It looks horrible. It sits on top of the skin. It just looks bad. This is the Jouer Essential High Coverage Cream Foundation. I really want to try the concealer. Really want to try it. This foundation has the most incredible coverage, okay? I think this one may be even better than the Huda when it comes to coverage. Those are the most high coverage foundations I have ever used in my life. But this one is so matte on my skin that it feels like the Sahara Desert on my face. Like, I feel like that life has been completely sucked out of my skin. No, it's just horrible on my skin. Like, if you have extremely oily skin, I would recommend this to you. But if you have dry skin like I do, even the slightest bit of dry skin, or just matte foundation doesn't look good on your skin, don't waste your money. Don't. I think this is a $40 foundation, and Nikki Tutorials, she convinced me to buy this too. And I also got an extremely light shade, the shade Porcelain. Definitely not my skin tone. So this is hella gone. I'm gonna grab these 2 back here because these were supposed to be the Dermacol makeup cover foundation. I really wanted to try this foundation, but when I first bought some makeup, okay, I don't even think I had any high-end makeup yet. Well, I discovered Wish right before all this, and I bought these. This is not the actual Dermacol brand. This is horrible, and I'm just gonna throw this in the trash. Like, I wouldn't even give this to my worst enemy. Like, I thought about keeping these for like Halloween makeup, but I would be scared to even put these on my face for Halloween for a tutorial or anything. Like, I actually had 3 shades and I gave one away, and like, I regret that because that poor girl probably put that on her face. So these are just taking up a hell of a lot of room that I need. So honestly, I'm not even gonna put these in the giveaway or get rid of pile. They're going straight in the trash because that's where they belong. Okay, so there's 5 more in here. We're gonna talk about these 2 together. I know they're not even the same brand, but these are stick foundations, clearly. But this is the Clay Stick Foundation by Tarte. I actually got this in Fairlight Neutral, and it's too light for me. I was lightweight upset when I realized that this was not a great shade match for me. It was just too light. So I really haven't tried this that much. I don't really reach for it. Stick foundations are just not my favorite. This would be great for people that like extremely light coverage, but I just don't. And then this is the Makeup Revolution Fast Base Stick Foundation, and this is in the shade F4. This is an extremely light shade, but it's not at the same time. Like, mine's got a weird hole in it too. Everybody really likes this foundation. It's like a pink pigment in a tube, and I know some people are really cool toned like that. I just thought it was so greasy on my skin. That's what I remember thinking when I did my full face of Makeup Revolution makeup. All I could think about was the fact that my face needed set immediately. So I just did not like it. I actually gave that to my mom and then took it back because I was like, well, maybe I just didn't give it a chance. I tried it again. Still a no for me, and also it's just not a good shade match, but a lot of people actually like this, so I'm gonna try to find somebody that wants to try it, and I'm gonna get rid of this too. So this one may upset some people, but I don't see what the rage is about. This is another Maybelline one. This is the Fit Me Dewy and Smooth. I know it is not supposed to be full coverage, but I don't think it does anything on my face. I literally feel like I'm putting on a BB cream. But also, I feel like it sits on top of my skin and does not look very good. So it's just not a favorite of mine. I'm gonna get rid of this. I had 2 of these and I don't know where the other one is. Yeah, I have no idea. Anyways, it doesn't really matter because this is going bye-bye anyways. I used this in the review for this foundation and powders. I hate every single thing from that line. One was too dark, one was too light. They were kind of a big jump. This one was light 75, the other one I think was light 45. I do like that they had a lot of shades, but it's just, I don't know. Everybody really likes ColourPop and a lot of their products. I have not found anything from ColourPop that I am gung-ho about. And it's nothing personal against ColourPop because I really want to like their products, but every single item I have ever got from ColourPop, including eyeshadows, everything, I have gotten rid of or I don't want. I think the only thing that ColourPop has that I have wanted to try recently is their potted eyeliners and their glitterly obsessed glitter. Other than that, I don't get excited about anything ColourPop launches anymore, but I just say their products are mediocre at best. So yeah. Okay, so this last one. This one, I've tried this quite a bit and I wanted to love this foundation. And I think partially because I got the wrong shade, but I was literally shade matched for this and this does not match me. This is the Makeup Forever Ultra HD Foundation. And I can say that out of everything in this drawer, I hate this foundation. I think this one, this Tarte one, and the Jouer one are the 3 that I absolutely cannot bring myself to put on my face anymore. But this one is just horrible. This is the shade Y225, and I really don't know why people like this. I can't figure it out, but people rave about this foundation and I have literally no idea why. This foundation has made me not buy anything else from Makeup Forever. And I really have heard great things about their products, but I also heard great things about this, and I got lied to. This was patchy. There was spots on my face it would not stick to. The color was off. It emphasized any texture in any pores, especially my pores. They look huge when I have this on. Did I mention it's not the right color and I got color matched? And this is just something I've never liked. So I don't even know why it's still in my drawer. Should have been gone a long time ago. I'm going to put this stuff back really quick and then we'll move on to concealers. Okay, so that's it looks so much better in there. I've been needing to do this for a while, and I still have 16 out of 25. All of these up here are still relatively full, so I'm gonna find them all good homes. I'm gonna throw color correctors in here as well because, yeah, why not? Over here, this basket is my concealers. I couldn't think of what it was called. And then also all these up here because I keep a lot of stuff back here in this organizer because these drawers at one point were like busting at the seams and it was driving me utterly insane. So I try to minimize and decorate at the same time. So I'm going to start with these two right here. These are the NARS Soft Matte Complete Concealer. I have the shades Medium 1 Custard and Light 1 Chantilly. I used to use these all the time for carving out my eyebrows and cutting my crease, and they're still great concealers, but since I have bought the P. Louise base, I stopped using these. But they're still absolutely great concealers, so I'm keeping those two. This is the Revlon Color Stay Concealer. This is in 06 Deep. This is a shade I use quite often for cream contouring. I didn't really know which shade to get when I bought this. It's actually not the greatest shade for me, but for like the days where I want to look a little bit bronzier, this is a great concealer because it does blend out really nicely. Okay, I'm not going in any specific order with these ones because I'm just grabbing from what's on top. So this is the Hard Candy Glamouflage concealer. This stuff is so thick. I heard such great things, like even coming out of the tube that came out so thick. I heard that this is the greatest coverage for a drugstore and blah 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 blah, and although it is, this is greasy and feels disgusting on your face. Don't waste your money. I don't care if it's only like $6. This little pencil that came with it, I use this sometimes to carve out my eyebrows. This is more so worth the $6 than this, okay? And this came together. This I actually like for carving out my eyebrows. It's just a little tiny concealer stick. This, on the other hand, is thick and gross. It's going goodbye. I am going to keep this. So this is the LA Girl Pro Conceal. This is the color corrector in orange. I really don't know why I have this. I don't know why I started using orange color correctors. I think I wanted to try them, and this is the one I bought because it was cheap and I've heard great things about LA Girl, especially their concealers. I don't like this. I don't use it. I don't know what to do with it. It's too dark for me. I usually stay to the light pink ones now because I am a very light skin tone, but I didn't know that when I first got this, so I mean it's still probably a good 60 to 80% full, so I'm gonna pass that on. This is the Julep Cushion Complexion 5-in-1 Skin Perfector with turmeric. This thing is actually shockingly good. I've got this, okay, most of you guys probably didn't know this. Most of you guys probably don't even know who Julep is, but this brand is actually got some really good products. I got this in their subscription box that I used to get. It's mainly nail polishes. If you are a nail polish kind of person, it'd be a good subscription box for you. But like once, this was one that I got. I chose this and I really like this. This is something I would repurchase. This is in the shade 100 Alabaster. I don't like that it's a cushion on the top because I think that's very unsanitary and unhygienic, but I'm the only one that uses it, so I'm keeping that. Okay, so this next one is a NYX HD Studio Photogenic Concealer. This, oh my god, what is the point in this? Seriously. But you like blend this and it's gone. It does not hide dark circles. I don't think it really does nothing. This Glamouflage is better than that, and I would rather have a grease pit on my face than nothing at all. If I'm putting on makeup, like I'm putting on makeup because I want to wear makeup. I just don't think this is very good. I got this in the shade 01 Porcelain, but it's just, I don't think it's any good, so I'm passing it on. This is the Maybelline Master Conceal in the shade Fair 10. I actually really do like this concealer. This is actually a pretty decent concealer, so if you ever are at the drugstore and you want a decent concealer, try this. This is the Urban Decay Naked Skin Concealer. There for the longest time, this was absolutely my favorite concealer. I used this constantly, and honestly, I used this, I think it was testing my weird makeup products video, one of my most recent ones. I'll link it. But I realized that this is extremely hard to blend out. Like, I don't know if it like dries down really quick or what, but I was having the hardest time blending out my forehead. It took me like 10 minutes to blend this out all over my face. Like, it was kind of crazy. But this is in the shade Fair Neutral. I still really like it. I just don't find myself using it nearly as much as other concealers I have. But I am going to use it. This is the Too Faced Original Born This Way concealer. I don't even know if they make this anymore. This is in the shade Light. I would have liked the lightest shade, but they didn't have it in the minis. This is nothing compared to the new one. This isn't horrible, but I'm glad that they came out with the other one. Like, I've just literally been trying to use this up. I've been using it to like carve out my brows and stuff. Just trying to get rid of it. So we'll just go ahead and talk about these two really quick, if I can get the other one out. So this is the Born This Way Multi-Sculpting Concealer, Multi-Use Sculpting Concealer. This is the newer ones. So yeah, everybody's like ride or die for this. And I definitely really like this. When I want really, really, really light coverage makeup days, but I feel like I need a little bit of something, I either reach for this or my NARS, and I will literally just spot conceal or like just throw a little underneath my eyes or just cover up my redness, blend it out, don't even set it, and I'll go. That's it. And it looks really good. My skin doesn't look like I'm wearing cakey foundation or cakey concealer, and it just looks good. Or I can apply this on a full face of makeup and blend it underneath my eyes, and it gets rid of my dark circles. My only grief with this is the same thing with the foundation. It's hard to find a good color. When it comes to concealers, I'm usually okay with any neutral or any cool toned concealers. As long as I stay away from like really warm toned stuff, I'm good. I don't know why it's like that, but I'm okay with it. It works. These are the shades Almond and Porcelain. When you hear porcelain, you think extremely light, right? These shades are almost identical. It's kind of crazy. So this one is Almond and this one is Porcelain. Like, I see like the shift. This one's a little more pink toned and this one's a little more neutral. But other than that, that is not that light for a porcelain shade, and I actually think this one's lighter. So I usually just kind of don't use these a whole lot anymore. I really just want to get a lighter shade in this because I love this concealer. But I am going to keep them because I really do like it as, you know, like I said, light coverage days. This is the Urban Decay All Nighter Concealer. It's okay. Everybody, when this came out, was comparing it to the Tarte Shape Tape. And I will say it's got some really nice coverage. I think it's kind of like the Shape Tape and a little dry. I don't think this is as dry as the Shape Tape. I like this one better, but it's just not that great. I don't know. The ones that people seem to really like are the stuff that I don't really absolutely like. I am going to keep this though because I'm just going to use this up and get rid of it, and I probably won't repurchase it. So speaking of Shape Tape, I don't like this. This is not the concealer for me. People absolutely live, breathe, and die for this. I remember I wanted this so bad. I bought one off of a app where people sell stuff, and I didn't realize until I bought this one from Ulta that was fake. And I used almost that whole entire tube. I just wanted another one because the first one I think was too dark. Like, I wanted a lighter shade or something. I don't remember what it was, but I think the shade was off. And then I went and got this one, and I realized just by like a slight difference in like the text or something that the other one was fake. And I don't know, like the fake one was actually better than this one. Isn't that ironic? But I think this is really dry. Yeah, it's nice coverage, but it really emphasizes my fine lines. I would deal with dryness or deal with stuff that I really didn't care about as much as the fine lines, and I would deal with this if it got rid of it, but it emphasizes it and makes it worse. So actually I'm gonna get rid of that because that tube's still pretty full and I know somebody else is gonna love it. So I have 3 shades of the don't ask me why they're all 3 different, of the Conceal and Define Makeup Revolution concealer. And actually when I first got this, I got this shade C1 and I hated this. Like, I was like, what the hell? People are hyping this up for no reason and saying it's like Shape Tape, and I hate this as much as Shape Tape. But in all reality, no. I have 3 now because I recently started reaching for this again, and I have ran out of both of my shades because I started using it that much. I had the shade C1 and the shade C6, and I wanted something in between those because although both of these shades can work for me, depending on how light I want my under eyes, I wanted something that was like in between. So I got the super size and I got the shade C3. And actually I'm really happy that I did get this. I've only used this one like 2 or 3 times because I've been trying to use what little bit is still in these ones. But yeah, I've been pretty much just like swiping the sides of these. So I think I'm just going to throw these 2 away. And I'm going to keep this one. So this is the Bye Bye Under Eye by It Cosmetics. This is just a little sample tube, and this little sample tube is, I've had this forever. I don't know, this, I like the coverage of it. I usually try to just use it for minimal kind of stuff, like carving out my eyebrows. I think is like all I ever use it for, because I remember my first thoughts about this concealer is it is extremely greasy, I think, underneath my eyes. I don't really care for it for underneath my eyes. I have my favorites and this just isn't one of them. I'm gonna keep this because it's probably only got a tiny bit left. I mean, it is only a little sample tube. Actually, it's a pretty big sample, so I have another color corrector, and I actually highly recommend this color corrector to people. This is the Master Camo by Maybelline. This is the light pink one. I think this is great for light skin tones. Do not buy an orange color corrector. Go try a light pink one first, because if you are literally using this for dark circles under your eyes, you only need a little bit. And this just does the job for me, especially because I have lighter skin. I just put a little bit in the corners of my eyes, blend it out down underneath my eyes, and then put my concealer over it. This has lasted me forever because I don't always color correct. So this is the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind. Everybody on YouTube started talking about it, and I won't lie to you, I won't repurchase this. I don't think it's as good as everybody says. I don't think it's nearly as full coverage as everybody says. That's why I don't like the Julep applicator either. These type of sponges hold so much bacteria, and look at the cap of that. That looks disgusting. Disgusting. But the sponges in general hold a lot of bacteria. That's why I'd rather use like a washcloth in the shower and just wash it every few days rather than using a loofah until it falls apart, because I don't like to throw things away. So I've literally been just trying to use this up. A lot of these I've just been trying to get use out of some way, shape, or form so I can throw it away. So we're going to move on to this one, and then we have 2 left. So this is the Maybelline Fit Me concealer, and people love this concealer. I don't think it's bad, but I literally think the exact same thing about this as I do this NYX one right here. It is a great affordable concealer. Both of these are good options, but I really don't think that they have coverage. I think that they give a nice brightening effect underneath the eye, but that's about it. If you're not looking for something that's super full coverage, I would opt out for one of these. I think the Maybelline one is a little bit better of an option than the NYX one. The Maybelline one's great, I just don't find the hype about it. I don't think it covers my dark circles. Like, I just think it's watery, and just too liquidy for me, and that thing's pretty much still full, so I am gonna get rid of it. So last but not least, we're gonna talk about my favorite and the absolute worst concealers that I have in my collection. So let's talk about my favorite, and no surprise, this is the Jeffree Star concealer. When I bought this, I literally did not have any idea his shade range, and I really didn't watch a whole lot of videos about this because I just was like, well, I want to try it, because the way he made it sound was like God was gonna come down and praise my under eyes. And I mean, I don't know how he did it. And since he hyped it up so much when I bought this, I didn't have high hopes. Like, I don't know, when I got it, I was just kind of like, yeah, it might be okay, but I don't think it's going to be a miracle worker. And I got the shade C1, and this is extremely light. This is almost white. I definitely could go up a shade or two, but I'll tell you what, this is the only concealer I have ever found, other than the Born This Way, that does not emphasize my fine lines. And I feel like this one, more so than the Born This Way, helped reduce the look of my fine lines, and I literally have not found that in a concealer ever. And the shade, surprisingly, blends amazingly into my foundation and just makes me have a really highlighted under eye. But it looks so good. It does not look like a harsh contrast between my skin tone or my foundation and a really pale under eye. Like, it blends beautifully with other products. Definitely repurchase over and over and over. Okay, so the last one is the same situation with the color. I bought it having an idea of like, oh, well, usually I am the lightest shade in concealers. Well, you know, when they come out with a really big shade range and you don't have any idea what their shade range is like, you end up with stuff like this. This is the ColourPop No Filter Concealer, okay? I was so excited to try this because Raw Beauty Kristi swears by this. Swears by this. And I absolutely hate this concealer. There is nothing about it that I like. I can't even use it as an eye base because I was like, well, it's such a light color, like this would be a great eye base. Maybe for cutting my crease, but as a base, hell no. It makes my skin look so textured. I don't understand why people say this has really good coverage. I think it blends away into nothing. As you can see, I think it's matte, so I don't like it, and it makes my under eyes feel dry. This is in the shade Fair 02. I've wanted to hold on to this, but like literally it is just taking up room that I just need, so I'm getting rid of this thing once and for all. You know what, I'm gonna get rid of a couple other things right here. They're highlighters for your brow bone. I think these things are just a waste of money to me. The only one I'm gonna keep is this little Glamouflage one, but the rest of them, they're going bye-bye. Well, anyways, this one is the better one of these two, but I mean, they're just, I feel like these are greasy. This Maybelline one's not horrible, but I use concealer. I don't really ever use these. These are just gonna sit here and go bad, so I feel like I could just give these to somebody, one of my friends, and they could get a little more use out of them, so I'm gonna get rid of these two. Okay, so these are the ones I'm gonna get rid of. I'm dropping it. And then I kept only the Born This Way ones, my Master Camo, the It Cosmetics one, and the Jeffree Star one in here, and then my NARS ones over here, and then I put everything else over there. I'm gonna get rid of these concealers because they just are not good to me. I made a lot of room. I hope you guys are enjoying these declutters. I try to space them out so I'm not just decluttering everything all together, because I feel like that will just seem like I'm not being creative. Let me know what you guys want to see next. I thought I was pretty much done, but I have a lot more stuff left. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, make sure you give it a big thumbs up. And also, if you are new here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And if you made it all the way through this video to this very end scene right now, make sure you leave me the heart eye emoji down below in the comment section. Anyways, guys, I love you, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!